right, here we are, friends. I'm joined today by the Doofus Toofus, Merle and Kyler Long. They're cousins. They're slalom kayaking savages. They're members of the junior national team for the United States. And some more impressive stuff. They also host a YouTube podcast called Sand in the Crack. So go give that some love. And let's jump in, boys. Welcome to the show.
All right. Thanks for having us.
How'd I do on that interview or that intro? Excuse me. Was that terrible or?
No, that was great.
It was good. I liked it.
Did it hit the top of the waves?
Yes.
I see.
Yes.
See what I did there?
I did.
Hey man, what'd you guys do over Memorial Day weekend? We just came out of Memorial Day weekend. I imagine that was a busy weekend for you guys.
Yeah, a bit of a busy weekend. We mostly do like safety kayaking, so up in Cascade Raft and Kayak. So you'll go down like a rapid in a raft, and we will go behind you in a kayak, and if you fall out, we'll take you back to the raft. But sadly, with all the snowpack and all the rain we've been having these past couple of days, we've had a bit too high of water. So we can't really raft right now, so we haven't been working that much, but we've been paddling the high water, and that's been fun.
Yeah, man, I actually drove by there yesterday, and there was a bunch of people out in the parking lot throwing ropes back and forth. I know, what was that all about?
Oh yeah.
That was the new guides training. So every year we have a bunch of new guides that have never worked before. So they go through our Swiftwater class and learn how to save people, how to throw the bag, so then they don't have to go create a more dangerous environment, and can do a more effective and safe rescue.
It's a, I was driving as I was coming back from Cascade from a long weekend. I'm driving next to the river. Obviously, like you said, it's high, it's moving fast right now. I actually saw a lot of boats like out on the river. I think they're fishing or something along those lines. Is that fair enough?
Yeah.
Are they always out there or no?
Yeah, it depends on the water level. Like if it gets too high, then you won't see much. But everybody's trying to take advantage of the high water right now. You don't get it all year round, so you only get it once every like 3 or 4 years. So you got to take advantage of it whenever you can, of the high water.
Well, fellas, one of the reasons I wanted to have you on the show is one, I'm excited about your show, and I want to talk about that, the Sand in the Crack podcast. But also, you're a couple of young guys. How old are you guys? Like,
I'm 15.
And I'm 17.
Okay, 15, 17. And so, like, I'm watching your podcast, just 3 episodes this morning. I'm just kind of bouncing around different parts and pieces of it. One of them, I think, was in Panama. One of them was in Prague. One of them was in Austria. Is that right?
Yep.
Like, you guys are competing all over the world. You're traveling all over the world. You're competing against the best in the world in your sport. What's it like being a teenager and just traveling and competing? And like, this is the life that you live, man. I know maybe you don't know a whole lot different, but like, take me through that. How'd you get into it? How has it been? I'd love to hear a little bit.
I'll say my side first, because my experience has been slightly different than Merle's has. So I attended in-person school until 8th or 9th grade. So I went to school from 2nd grade until 8th grade. So I was in-person school for 8-ish years. And then I transitioned into the homeschool and online as I got more serious about the slalom and then the whitewater, and then it gave more opportunity to travel for training. And yeah, it's a bit different than Merle, who started homeschool a little bit earlier.
Yeah. Merle?
Yeah, so we always have traveled a little bit more than their family. So my dad is a travel booker for people. So he works for a meal ticket, and what he does is he doesn't get paid that much for a meal ticket, but he gets the miles.
Yeah.
So the only reason where we get to travel so much is we have all those miles, so we get to use those to the best for we get to use those a bunch. So
And shout
I've
out
been
to your
doing,
dad, by the way.
yeah, right.
Yeah, your dad's beat me up for the last 6 or 7 years on the jujitsu mats. He's also been on the podcast before, Mr. Trent Long.
Oh yeah. So I did in-person school, what we call like real school. We did that until I was in second grade, and then I moved to Idaho Virtual Academy, which I still do now. It's been a fun experience. I haven't. The only reason we do that is obviously for travel, and it just makes it way easier. So we can make our own schedule. We can work ahead if we are traveling those days. We can work from wherever in the world. So it's been a really fun experience. Um, it's the social aspect kind of sucks. Like, I don't really get to hang out with many people because either they're in school or like I'm in like they're in school or I'm around the world. But it's a fun experience nonetheless. So yeah.
Oh, for sure, man. And I imagine there's certain things like Kyler, did you go to like I know you're virtual, but like is there opportunities to go to prom or homecoming or like things like that?
There are.
And then do you have to like is there like an app or you get matched up with people? Like what's going on these days? How'd you get a date?
I'm not really sure how that works. I haven't gone to any of the I also go to Idaho Virtual Academy.
Yeah.
And I haven't ever gone to one of their dances. I've always gone to like the dances of the school that I used to go to.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense, man. And you guys look like you're having fun out there though too, man. That podcast, you guys are just riffing back and forth, kind of talking a little bit of crap, having some fun, man. Where did the podcast come in? Did it spur out of boredom, or do you guys have something to say? Let's talk about that.
So it's a bit of a sporadic story. So we were doing. It was like middle of
August.
August
Oh,
or like,
yeah.
yeah,
Late July.
Yeah. Around there, and we were paddling with a bunch of friends. I don't even know how it started. We were just talking about like names of like podcasts or like albums or something like that. What would be funny names? And then we've been talking about like, oh, what if you did a podcast for a while? But then one of us came up with the name like "Sand in My Crack" podcast, and we thought it was hilarious. So that night, we had these headphones that my dad had. We borrowed them. Not headphones, microphones. And we did our first podcast. We walked in there and then we just started recording. So it was a little sporadic. Not our best episode, but the first episodes are never the best. But I'd like to think we got better since then. We got a podcast in the works, but it was a bit of a sporadic, like, let's just do it now and get the first episode over with sort of story.
Yeah, and you guys have a great tagline. What does it say? Like something about enough to notice, but not enough to care. What's the tagline?
So coarse enough to notice it's there,
fine enough to let it be. We
and I imagine this is something to do with the kayaking subculture. I imagine.
Yes.
You got sand in your crack quite often.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very uncomfortable.
Yeah. So the podcast is just annoying enough to notice it, but not annoying enough to click off. So it's just, you gotta notice it, but you'll still watch. So
dude, I found myself getting sucked into it. You guys have good chemistry, man. It was funny. I liked when you guys were running up and interviewing people and kind of exploring the event.
Yeah.
Was that in Austria?
Yeah.
That was in Etz.
That was in Etz, Austria.
Yeah, what was that event like? Like, what is it like when you go to one of these events? That's what I want to know. Like, will you guys like show up with a boat and you're like, hey, I'm here to, well, or like, where do you stay? Like, what do you do? Take me through that. Like, I want to know.
Pretty much, like, well, most of the time it depends, but most of the time we will get there like about a week earlier, I'd say. And then we paddle the water, like go explore around. We will probably know some people there, so they take us on the water. show us some lines, and then we get used to getting in the boat. And then just for like a fun race, like the Etz Trophy Cup in Austria, we just got there a week early. We stayed in an Airbnb, and we just explored the town, explored the whitewater, ran it a bunch, and then we thought, hey, let's do a podcast here and let's interview some people. And so, yeah.
That's rad.
Yeah.
Your experience is typically the same, Kyler. You Airbnbs, you guys all stay together as kind of like the Long family.
Yeah, sometimes we'll stay together if we can find a big enough Airbnb. Sometimes we won't. My brother and sister and dad also flew out for that race, so we got our own Airbnb. And the town that we were staying in is very, very small. You could walk everywhere, so it was a 2-3 minute walk from ours to their Airbnb. So we still had dinner every night, and we all hung out at one Airbnb. It was just the space for sleeping.
Yeah. And then is your sister Isabel? Is that who that is?
No,
who's
that
Isabel?
is-
Because she's on the boards all the time too, as far as like winning and stuff. Is that
Yeah,
family, or is it just somebody named Long?
she is the other cousin. So there are 3 dads. There's his
Okay.
dad, my dad, and then their brother. And she is the youngest of his daughters.
Oh, she seems like a savage too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Getting after it, man. You guys are out there. Where's your favorite place to compete at?
Ooh.
You want to answer this first, Kyler? You want to go your top 3?
Yeah. Throw a top 3 out there. That's great. No
Okay.
particular order if it's too hard to call out one place.
Okay.
So I can think of my answer.
For slalom, I've got to say Tatsen in Slovenia. Isn't it in Slovenia?
Mhm.
It's a super cool town. There is it's not a waterfall, but it's a vertical drop, kind of like a slide. So I think it drops 10 feet in the distance of 15 feet. So it's more of like a ramp down.
Yeah, that just
which
sounds
is
like
super
a free
fun.
fall. That sounds like a free
Yeah.
fall.
So that's super fun. And then Bratislava, there's a course in Bratislava. I think that's also in Slovenia. And then there's a super cool course in Italy, in Valstagna, Italy. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right.
Something like
It's
that.
a small little town. The water is crystal blue. And it's just a super cool place to be, super cool place to train and race. There are a ton of people that kayak there, so you can always meet somebody new, which is always fun.
Merle?
Well, for me, probably my favorite place to paddle slalom and race it would be in Australia, in Prague. It's just so consistent. The water feels so natural. There's so many good features. There's great holes. There's great surfing waves. There's some great avian lines. It just can't be beat. It's so consistent too. So some courses, like some of the courses here in America, they will change a lot. So 1 second the wave will be there, the next second the wave will be gone. So you have to time it. But in Australia, it's so consistent, like natural whitewater, because natural whitewater has decades to actually corrode and settle in. So unless there's a rock slide, but that's a whole nother story. But it just feels so natural. My favorite place to whitewater paddle is probably up here on the Payette, the North Fork. So it's so much fun. There's the whole 15 miles of continuous class 5 just can't be beat. It's just fun all the way down. It has so many different levels of paddler. You can start at the lower main when you're just starting paddling and then going up to the North Fork, which is some of the biggest whitewater in the world. So, but another fun place to just general paddle around would definitely be over in over in Czech Republic, the Devil's Extreme race. The water only runs for about 2 weeks out of the year, and the race is just settled in there. And so it's super cool. There's some fog around. They have one of the biggest dams in Europe right above it. Again, it only runs for 2 weeks out of the year. So there's trees literally growing in the middle of the river, which makes it super cool, super cool environment. Got some super fun whitewater over there. But yeah, that would definitely be top 3.
I'm going to add a little bit on the Devil's Extreme race. It feels like you're paddling through an enchanted forest. Because the water is released from the dam, and they only release it for 12 hours a day, for not even 2 weeks, maybe. And we just so happened to be there doing a training camp. So we got to go and race that. And it was crazy because the mist would fall down in the trees. So you couldn't see like that much further. But it was crazy. And another really cool part about that was, so you start up at the top and then you'd run down, and typically for kayaking you have to run your shuttle. So you'd take 2 cars, you'd meet at the takeout of the run, then you'd all cram into one car, drive one car up to the top. Then when you get down to the bottom, you can have that other car, and then 2 people drive up, grab the other car up from the top, and then bring it back to the bottom. But what was super cool and unique about the Devil's Extreme race is the shuttle was run by a train. There was a train, and it would run down to the bottom, and then we would cram however many people could fit in it, and then the train would take us back up to the top.
With like boats and paddles and the whole deal, like you're just packing into a train.
Oh yeah.
The
whole deal.
We got a bunch of cool photos. Yep. So you've been in a train, right? It's about 10 feet high. So the first people in there, it's just like an unwritten rule. They'd help everybody take their boats and put them inside like the aisle of the train. They'd stack up all the way 10 feet high. And then we just cram as many people and as many boats and as many paddles as we could in. And it's definitely a fun experience. And the shuttle is so fun. There's nothing like it. And yeah, we had a lot of fun over there. That was our first training camp. Me and Kyler went alone and just hung out with a couple of friends. So it was a very fun experience. I love Prague.
Dude, that's wild, man. All right. So here's the thing. I don't understand the sport at all. Your dad, Merle, was trying to explain it to me on the podcast, and I was just sitting there. My head was going vertical. Like, yeah, train, of course. Yeah, that's exactly. It seems pretty simplistic, but the thing I want you to maybe explain, one, give us the overlay of the sport that you compete in. And then 2, fractions of seconds separate folks. That was one thing that I realized when I was looking through the leaderboard, like the difference that in like first and 15th is maybe 3 or 4 seconds, maybe, but the difference between like first and second could be like 0.3 or 0.03 seconds. Like it's a pretty tight, it's a pretty tight turn. So like, 1, explain the sport, and then 2, like, how do you gain a competitive advantage? Like what do you have to know? What do you have to do? Educate us a little bit.
So there's really 2 forms of kayaking that we compete in. I'll explain slalom, and if Kyle wants to explain extreme slalom, which is different. Extreme slalom. So slalom is so you're in a carbon fiber boat, about like 12 pounds or something, super, super light. It's around there, right, Kyler?
Yeah, I think it's 12 pounds.
Yeah, somewhere around there. And you will go down a set course, a lot of whitewater, so a lot of different challenging moves. So you'll go down the green gates and up the red gates. There's typically around 19 to 24 gates in each official course. And what I personally love about the sport is because there's nothing like it. So there you've got sprint kayaking, which is all about endurance and all about physical power. And then you have like just whitewater paddling, which is all about just having fun and being able to read the water and use your edges to go where you want to go. And slalom is a hybrid in between the two. So you want to practice like the cardiovascular part of it. You need to practice muscle endurance, so you can actually last about the 90 seconds that it takes to get down the course. You want to have a lot of muscle so you can actually pull on those strokes, especially out of the ups, so you can re-energize the boat. So there's so many different levels to it. Like it's so hard to make a training camp for it because there's just so many different levels. Like we will do when we're going, it'll be about like 3 workouts a day. So 1 workout or 2 workout will be practice. So we will go on the course that we're training on at the time, and we will make up our own course and practice that a bunch and just loop that for about an hour to an hour and a half. We'll loop that a whole bunch just to get the repetitions in and practice on the technical part of it. And then the second or third workout will be either strength conditioning or the cardiovascular part. So right now we're going because we have Junior Worlds up here we leave in less than a week. So we have.
Where are you headed?
We're headed over to Italy for the World Championship. So right now we're doing about an hour run a day, and we will do cardiac power, which is 10 strokes 10 sets in a slalom boat with a stroke wrapped around the front of the boat to add a lot of resistance. And it is 1 minute and 35 seconds, 100% just pulling on each stroke. You have to make sure you have good form just so you don't get into a bad habit. Do that about 10 times and you have a 2.5 minute rest. And we'll do another workout is what do we call lactic capacity. So you'll do 35 seconds on like the battle ropes, right?
Yeah,
the little rope. Yeah. We'll do 35 seconds on that, and then a 2.5 minute run, and then come back, do that 3 times, and a 10-minute run, do that 3 times, 10-minute run, and we'll do that for 3 to 4 times, and then we'll do HRI and a bunch of other stuff, and we'll do different types of lifts. So one of my coach's favorite lifts, which I hate, is what we call lift 2. I don't know where that came from, but it is 1.5 minutes. Like let's take bench press for example. So you'll go down for 2 seconds, up for 2 seconds, do that for 1.5 minutes, and we'll do that 5 times, and then you'll move on to a different machine. So we'll do lateral pull downs, or you'll do bench pulls or something like that, and a bunch of different machines. So it's a really difficult sport to train for because there's so many different levels to it, but it definitely makes it challenging, which makes it fun. So
very good.
Yeah.
And then I think we're going to unpack extreme kayaking
Yes.
a little bit as well, and maybe some of the strategy around that, because it sounds like with the slalom, it's a lot of just like out of the water time too, just focusing, training, getting geared up to do it. Is that similar to extreme?
I'll add one more thing. I'm sorry to cut you off, Kyle.
Yeah, no, good.
Okay.
So in the training part of it, there will be a lot of there'll be different types of ups. So you'll do either a reverse sweep up. So you'll take a reverse sweep in the kayak. Your boat will go vertical. You'll whip your head around the gate, and you'll keep going. You want to have that around like less than a second, if you can. So it's very fast, and then I'll have 4 different types of moves, four different types of just ups, not counting like downs and different bounce moves and all that stuff. So there's so much stuff to work on both in and out of the boat. So, and they're both equally important. But there you go.
I can stand up paddleboard with like a White Claw in my hand around a buoy. And then I come all the way back to the cooler, and I can get another beer too. I'm impressed by that. Just so you know.
That's impressive.
Kyler, man, what is the world of extreme slalom, right?
Okay, so extreme slalom is definitely different, but similar in aspects. So extreme slalom is so the boats that you race in, I'll just start there. So the boats that you race in are typically about 9 feet, very low volume. They're made out of plastic. So they're more durable. You can run over rocks, all that kind of stuff. Typically, they're the boats that are used for like river runs. They're not that like high volume boats. Typically, they have the same stern of a slalom boat, just in plastic. And so essentially, there are 4 people that start on the top of I'd say 10-foot ramp.
Extreme is you're racing at the same time with other people?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, so it's so there are 4 people up on the ramp. You start, so you want to like scoot your boat to the very, very edge. And then as soon as they say go, first 2 people down the course make it through to the next heat. And then so they have 2 ups in the course and then a couple of downs. The interesting thing about the ups is that you can choose which up you want. So they'll have 2 ups in eddies on the opposite sides of the river. And you just have to do one of them. So you can choose the right one or the left one. And a lot of what motocross is it's figuring out where the other people are going, the best way to interact with them, and not get slowed down.
So you're saying motocross, so it's like it's very much like motocross. Like you got to get the whole shot. Part of the field.
Absolutely.
Only part of the field advances.
Yeah.
I bet it gets pretty heated too. Is it like people come out of the water and start throwing punches and stuff? I bet it's
I don't think it gets to quite that level.
Only if we're lucky.
Only what?
Only if we're lucky, then someone will get out the boat and start throwing fists.
Yeah.
Did your job.
Yeah. No, but so you can hit the other people with your boat while you're racing. And that's a big part of it.
Oh, that's allowed.
That's allowed. It's encouraged. That's it's definitely a more viewer-friendly sport, because there's more of a defined winner, and there's carnage and it's chaotic. But yeah, so if somebody's going into an up, you can hit their boat out of the way and then take the inside line and then cut them off essentially.
So there's some danger first as well. Like the timing in which you would take first place is probably predicated based on
absolutely.
Yeah.
And so for some of the ups, you can go like super close to the poles, and you're allowed to hit the poles in extreme slalom, and they're big tubes filled with air basically. So it doesn't hurt to hit. So if you go really, really deep into an up, then you can basically have a net zero where the person behind you doesn't pass you, you don't pass them, you just kind of get in and out cleanly. But obviously if you're in a further back position, you'll try to cut the inside and mess with people to try to get the jump on them. So a lot of it is waiting for your opportunities and the opportunities to make a pass or to be faster than the other people, essentially.
How does the seasons of the sport work? Like, is there kayaking or paddling or whatever the hell we call it, like going on all over the world just in different seasons, or is there like a national or an international association that kicks off in a certain month and ends in a certain month and culminates with like a major event?
I think for the most
The
part,
reason
they're
the reason
run.
I ask is because when I was researching this, I was so confused. Like I'm just like this
Yeah.
tournament, and that tournament, and this associate. Like I don't get it.
Yeah. I think they're run pretty much year round, because they can hold the races at so many different places. It's always warm or sunny at some place. And some of the races are colder, some are hotter. It just kind of depends on where they want to have them.
What's the coldest water you've competed in?
Actually, I think it was, we were at the same race. It was over in Washington. It was one of those smaller races, but we go every year because we love the environment and the people that work there. So it was almost negative, wasn't it? And it was snowing, and we had an RV, and then you'd go sitting there and you'd do like a little warm up, and then you'd wait like 2 minutes to run, and then you sprint out there, grab your boat, and like go warm up and just go because it was so cold. And obviously for me at least, everybody's different, but you don't want to wear too much gear because then you'll feel too tight.
Your motion is restricted.
Yeah, so you don't want to wear that much, but it's hard to find the balance between freezing to death and also being able to compete. So yeah.
What's like I know we've talked about like favorite places to compete and those types of things, but like you guys have been all over the world. I mean, there's got to be some pretty amazing places that you've just seen that just kind of like hit you, gave you perspective about the world on this 28,000 mile rock we live on. Like anywhere you go that just seemed like really profound, really like made you feel real small, or gave you a perspective of the world?
For me, a big one was Prague, when we went and lived in Czech Republic, just the two of us. It was the first trip where we had really done just us. And it was a big city. And we got a metro pass, which gave us access to go anywhere in the city. And it was a massive city. And it was a whole different viewpoint for me, being it wasn't as controlled of an environment, if that makes sense. Like we were very much
you're a couple of young men in Prague, man.
Control of where we were going.
We were there for about like a month.
Your parents must trust the heck out of you, man.
It took a while. Well, actually, they're the ones that introduced it to us and told us if we wanted to go. So that was a super fun experience. We always had our parents, obviously, to tell us like where we can go and where we can't. So having that freedom over in Prague and over in a whole like new continent was a great eye-opening experience. Having to deal with ourselves and deal with our own crap.
I think a lot of kids are missing out on that, man. I think we're not. And I'm really interested in this perspective from both you guys as well. I have an 8-year-old son. I'm always trying to do my best as a parent, as a father. I'm trying to like learn some things. I tend to talk to adults most often, or when I say adults, I mean like people over 18.
Yeah. I
kind of consider you guys some adults because there's a lot of adults that I know that couldn't function for a month, even living with their cousin and whatnot. So I'll give you guys a tip of the hat there. But like, I don't think that we're doing a service to this generation of young people that are growing up. We kind of nerf the world for them. We try to make everything overly safe for them. Do you like traveling and seeing the way that other cultures and other people live when you come back to the States? Do you feel like would you align with that, or would you say no, you're maybe painting a broad brush, Jake? Get on a plane and travel a little bit more before you start talking about your ass.
Well, at least for me, I was lucky enough to go over to Africa for a couple weeks. And that was a really eye-opening experience. Just seeing the difference between a first world American country, everything's bigger and better,
Right.
and over there everything's so simple, um, like the seeing, just driving 10 minutes from inside the city where millionaires live and all that stuff, driving 10 minutes and then you're in the slums of next to the highway.
A big part for me was it opened my eyes, and it showed me how much we take for granted, and how truly awesome it is to be able to go get a job, be paid minimum wage, like have the opportunities to work and provide, which was crazy.
Yeah, it's got to be frustrating other parts of the world when there's just not infrastructure. I mean, we talk about that a lot. I mean, that's what really what separates that nomenclature of first world and third world is like oftentimes there tends to be resources, but such corrupt politics and governments or a lack of infrastructure or corrupt corporations or, you know, whatever it is.
Yeah, for sure.
Create some kind of hurdle to overcome that's hard to do unless people are all paddling in the same direction, if you will.
Yes.
You like what I did there?
Yes.
Merle, I'd love to finish that story you had now that you're back with us on the perspective you got being out in Africa.
Yes, that was a really cool experience. Just when you look up online, like we were in South Africa, when you look up online, like, is it safe to go to South Africa? Like, what stuff you should watch out for, like what not to do, what to do. And we all read up and we had to talk about what you can do, like when you're driving through some parts of town, like you have to put your phone away and that stuff. Is just because the crime rates are so high. But and not to say that there's not places like that in America, it's just more rampant down there. But honestly,
oh no,
I think every time he says honestly, he cuts out. Yeah. Hey, while we're waiting for him to get on, you got that shirt. You both are wearing the same shirt on the podcast today. HKO.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about HKO.
So it's like Merle said a little bit earlier, it's a company based in Prague, Czech Republic. They mostly make slalom gear. So we've always had slalom gear from them. They make super high quality, super thin, which allows for like being the most, like having the ability to move dynamically, because that's a big thing in slalom is you're moving your body and your shoulders and you're rotating your torso. So having the ability to move still is priceless. It's it's crucial.
It's the difference in those 0.03 seconds I was talking about earlier,
for sure.
Right?
Yeah, 100%.
That's cool. I saw that gear behind Merle there. That's you guys are out distributing that stuff too here in the States.
Yeah, so we're the US distributors for Zet, or no, sorry, for Hiko. Misspoke.
No, very good, man. I'm all about that, man. So it's nice to be sponsored. It's nice to distribute. It's nice to do all that stuff. So shout out to those guys. And we'll throw I'll throw a link down here in the notes too. People go check out that gear as well.
Yeah.
You know, I'm interested while Merle's having trouble connecting and getting back on here. You know, I've known him since he was about 10 or 11 years old.
Yeah.
I've got to see him grow up a little bit. He walked in a jiu-jitsu gym the other day, and you know, I might weigh a little bit more than him, but I'm not, I don't think I'm taller than him anymore. He's a big kid. And I know he likes to do jiu-jitsu with his dad outside of paddling. What do you do outside of the sport, man? What are you into? What are you interested in?
I love surfing. I really enjoy it. Mountain biking, most outdoor sports I like to do, hiking, camping, all of it. But I'd say like the main thing is surfing.
Oh, nice. And that is like traditional, like in the saltwater ocean surfing, or is that
Yeah,
like wake
yeah.
surfing or what? Because I was
No.
just up in Cascade.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
we were the only people out on the lake, man. There was no one out there. I love cold
yeah,
water.
yeah, for
So
sure.
my buddy's got a boat. He's like, if you want to ride, dude, go ahead and ride. So
Yeah.
a couple of us got in, and
Yeah.
we had a good time. And my son rode a little bit, but
Oh, nice.
I have not done much of that like ocean surfing life.
Yeah.
We got that Kelly
Yeah.
Slater, channeling that
Yeah.
inner Kelly Slater.
Absolutely.
I'm back.
There
Sorry
you
about
go.
that.
No, you were. This is the second time I think you were saying the word honestly, and then your computer was
And
Yeah,
then
cutting
it cut
off.
out.
yeah. Well, I'm not gonna say that word anymore. So
For sure.
we're gonna stop that. Yeah.
No, yeah, take us back, man. You were riffing on a real cool story there as far as just perspective gained.
All right. So hopefully it doesn't cut out this time. I got a charger now, so hopefully my computer won't die. So yeah, down there, everybody keeps saying all this stuff like don't leave your house after a certain amount of time. Like don't do this, don't drink the water, don't do that. And it's not like we were being reckless or anything like that. But we felt really safe down there, and it was a crazy eye-opening experience because when you think of Africa, most people think about like the poor
Yeah, but a lot of
people, like
poverty, yeah, and
poverty.
disease and
Um,
malaria and the, like things you got to get
yeah,
shots for. Yeah, that's what I think. And I think about like
yeah,
lions and poachers and like I'm ignorant, man. I haven't traveled the world very much, so like you guys are my beacon of truth.
yeah, for sure. I mean, we got all the shots. We did everything we could to stop all that stuff. But we felt really safe down there. The environment was so crazy. We never had a bad experience. The food was so super good. The people were so friendly, and we didn't feel. We obviously weren't like walking around at 1 a.m. in the morning, going down all the sketchy alleys. But we felt really safe down there. And what you don't realize is that just because some people might have bad experiences does not mean that all the people are bad. But like, obviously, again, we weren't being reckless or walking out at like 1 a.m. in the morning and stuff like that. But we felt really safe down there. The people were super friendly. We got a lot of perspective on other people's lives and what they have to go through just to get a job, or just to just to have a stable financial income, and all the corrupted governments and their point of view and all that stuff. So it was very interesting. I hope I do go back again. But
Yeah.
that was definitely one of my favorite eye-opening experiences down there. But yeah.
All right. So, here's an interesting perspective. When your dad was on the show, he told me that like he was a hell of a competitor as a young man. And then he was like, I'm kind of over it. Like, I don't, I think he still competed some, but like not really at the highest level in the sport.
Hmm.
And then he was like watching the Olympics one day and like saw all these people that he used to compete with, and he was like, I'm gonna get back into it. I'm gonna like go and do it again. How old were
Yeah.
you when he said that, or the brothers said that, or whatever was happening there?
Well, from my point of view, my dad, I love him, but and he went through a lot of phases. So as soon as he retired, he and all the brothers weren't working out as much and all that stuff. So a lot of photos is my favorite because they were all chunky. So that was my
Oh,
favorite.
dude.
That was my favorite phase of them all.
If I see him at jujitsu tonight, I'm gonna tell him you said that.
Oh, Merle.
Uh-oh. Yeah, so I forget how old I was, but I remember my dad would there was a lot of differences in the food we ate and the experiences that we had. I'd like to think that we've always been a healthy family, but we've had a lot of changes in the food that we eat. like every time we go to the store now, we'll look at the ingredients, and my mom has this
Yeah.
list of stuff that we can't eat, like vegetable oil or these type of oils, all this gum and all that stuff. So there's a lot of little things that we try to avoid. So I don't remember the specific time, date, and the difference, but I just remember that my dad wouldn't drink 3 big gulps a day, and we wouldn't have that big bag of donuts that we would always have every
Yeah.
morning.
It's it's funny, like you're you're tapping into where I kind of want to go with this question, which is like, life is an interesting journey and people change
Mhm.
over time. And I certainly am one of those people. I had a period of time where I was really out of shape. I was about 240 pounds when I would peak up to my biggest, and I'm 5'11". That's not, there's definitely a lot of ways to live life. I'm not shaming
Yeah.
anybody from a weight
No,
standpoint, but
sure.
for me,
Mhm.
it was way too much for me. It was, when you carry around that extra 45-pound like
Mhm. Yeah.
plate, it's a lot. Um, where you guys are right now, you're about that age. You're at that 15, 17, 18-year-old age. Is this the lifestyle you're looking to commit to? Is this like you want to compete for as long as you can compete, or is this fun now and you've got some other things that you want to do?
Um, for me personally, so kayaking is a lifetime sport. You can do it for your whole life, and I think we will both do kayaking at least for the rest of our lives. For me, I want to go as far as I can possibly go in slalom and competing, um, and just all of that kind of stuff.
Okay, so you're into it until you decide to retire.
Hmm.
Roger that. Merle?
For me, well, me and Kyler aren't too far off. I'm almost 16, so we're a little over a year apart. But um, for the slalom kayaking is a very young sport. A lot of the Olympic level paddlers, the top level paddlers, are 19. Well, around like 19 to 23. But there's obviously people training in the World Cups and winning that are 35 or almost 40. One of my favorite paddlers is almost 40, but and he's still training as one of his best. Peter Kauser, he's so insane. He has a great work ethic. He's such a nice guy. Seeing him paddle in person is a crazy eye-opening experience. But to answer your question, yeah, uh, I would like to paddle for the rest of my life, or at least until I fall off, and then I'll just
Yeah.
paddle either extreme slalom or I'll just paddle like whitewater. But I'll paddle whitewater until the day I die. I guarantee it.
I
So
love it, man. I absolutely love it. Hey, one or two questions before we get out of here because we're almost up on that hour. Um, Favorite food along the way, whether it's be in the States or it could be international. But like, or we did the Mount Rushmore earlier. You gave me like top three. So if you want to go there, you can't decide, go there. But if you've got one distinguished favorite, I want to know that.
Oh, that's a good question.
that is a good question. I'll give you two answers.
All
So,
right.
first answer I will give you will be while I'm in training. So my favorite go-to food when I'm either when I'm either taking off some pounds or putting on some pounds will definitely be like a smoothie. I'll have it every morning. It's a banana with this fruit, this frozen fruit berry sort of thing, with a banana, a scoop of 2 scoops of protein powder, and and a little bit of milk. It's so good. I have it every morning. It fills me up. It's great. And then when I'm in the off season, when I don't have to watch my weight that much, I will honestly either sushi, which is really good,
Yeah.
or just a bagel, like a regular
Just a
everything
bagel.
bagel,
Just give me a
cream
bagel.
cheese. You can't beat it. Any time of day, it could be 1 a.m. or it could be 4
Dude,
a.m.
I like
Or
that
like
answer.
midday.
I tell you what, if you're you know, if you're out there in life and like the thing that makes you really happy is like creme brulee, like it's a pain in the
Yeah.
ass to go find creme brulee. But if
Yeah.
you like a bagel and you're genuinely like, the bagel is the thing, man. If I'm a bagel, I am
Yeah,
happy. Dude, that
exactly.
is a beautiful way to live. Kyler, how about you, man?
Um, oh, I love uh kebabs like in Europe. They're so good. We got to have them a lot when we were in Prague. Um,
Oh yeah.
um, another food. I would say a burrito.
Just a burrito.
I
Hit me,
love burritos.
hit me with that
They're
burrito.
so
I love
good.
it. I love it,
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
man.
yeah.
And yeah, kebabs, you can't beat it. We over in Prague, there was this one place that was outside of the train station where we'd always get off to get to our whitewater paddle session, and
This
we'd
isn't the
have
one
it
where you
like,
got your boat in the thing that brings you back up, or is this a
oh
different train?
no, this is the same
This
trip.
is a
So that was
Oh,
metro.
gotcha, gotcha.
this is
Yeah.
the metro. That was in the Devil's Extreme Race where you'd go on the train. Would be that was in Prague. I forget the town, but and then or sorry, that was in Czechoslovakia, and then this is in Prague when we were where we were from a month after the Devil's Extreme Race. But anyway, it was right outside the train station, and it was it was this little hole in the wall. There was a mom working there, and every once in a while, her little kid would come out from the back with like a math question, and then ask her.
Beautiful.
And yeah, it was amazing. It was you could get. Oof, I have a video of it, but you could get a kebab about like bigger than my head, like this big, an XXL for like $1.30 in USD. Oof, it was the best ever, and we probably should not have eaten that so much, but you just couldn't beat it. We'd be on the metro going back from our hour and a half workout, just like with these big, like dripping, big dripping kebabs. It was you couldn't beat it.
Dude, I love it. I love it, fellas. Hey, well, one, I can't thank you guys enough for taking some time out of your day to join me today. I am so excited for both of you guys. You're so young, but you're so accomplished in your sport. You're so mature in the way that you present yourself. I'm excited about your podcast, Sand in the Crack. And I hope you guys continue to do that. I know you've done 5 or 6 episodes, but they're really great episodes. So people go check them out. I know more are coming, especially as you guys are on this traveling circuit. I'm excited to see what countries you guys are going to next. Sounds like Italy is on the short list.
Yep.
Um, best to you fellas. I mean, it's a beautiful life. It's a beautiful thing that you guys are doing. And Merle, like I said, when you weren't, when you fell off, I've known you for, a while now.
Yeah.
It's cool to see you grow up, man. It's cool to see you just conquering the world, getting after it. And Kyler, best to you as well, man. Like it just,
Yeah.
um, any advice, anything that you wanted to come on and say before we part ways here?
Oof. I should have prepared this before.
Any shout outs?
Take
Uh,
take the opportunities. If you see an opportunity, take it.
Absolutely.
I don't think that you can really regret experiencing different things, and because there's always something to learn from it, whether it be you don't have a good time and you learn that, or you do have a fantastic time, but there's still learning and experience, and it can change the way that you think and view things, which is super cool.
Oh, just take the chance, go. Like take the
Yeah.
opportunity, run with it.
Yeah.
for me, I would say just try to live in the moment. A lot of times, especially in this world, we'll try to think in the long term, like which is good to think in sometimes, but you just gotta take some moments for you just gotta take some moments for granted, and try to live in the moment. But yeah,
I love
I'll
that.
I'll shout out one thing. Santa Crack podcast on YouTube. I called it on Spotify, but it's not going. We got one in the works, and our Instagram is Doofus on Instagram, and mine is Merle.kayaks.
Awesome. Yeah, and I will put both your Instagrams and the links that you just shouted out in the notes of the podcast. Take the opportunities and be where your feet are. I love it, fellas. Great advice to close out the show. Thanks for joining me today, and best of luck to you guys in Italy, man.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for having us on.
Thank you.